Of course, Donald Trump and Roy Moore have something else in common. At least 16 women have accused Donald Trump of sexual assault. And today, 3 of Trump's accusers retold their stories on the Today Show after being assured 30 Rock had been thoroughly delowered. One woman described being assaulted by Trump on an airplane. The woman actually left her seat and hid in the back of the plane after Trump groped her, but then ran into him 2 years later at an event.
He says, I remember you. You were that woman from the airplane. He called me the worst name ever.
Does it begin with a C?
Yes, yes.
Does it end with T?
Yes.
He called her a cat? At least that's what I hope he called her. Because if he called her the other thing, that would make our president a huge, begins with an A, ends with a hole. And you don't have to do the thing, right? We're all good. Good.
It's in there.
We'll never know.
You can get.
We got another glimpse inside the White House this weekend. On Saturday, the New York Times gave a detailed look at Trump's day-to-day life that paints a portrait of an angry, paranoid man who feels constantly under attack. And that for Donald Trump, every day is an hour-by-hour battle for self-preservation. Trump feels under attack but tries to stay positive about Mueller's investigation into his campaign's possible collusion with Russia, telling several people, it's life. Yes, it's life. But you could plead that down to 30 years if you rat out Don Jr. And then we do the thing with the oh my goodness. And it turns out the reporting that Donald Trump is drowning his sorrows in a dozen Diet Cokes each day, which explains Diet Coke's new slogan, Diet Coke, 12 is too many. I can go for one right now. I could go for one. They're delicious.
One.
Trump views his whole presidency as a war against his enemies. Before he took office, he told top aides to think of each presidential day as an episode in a television show in which he vanquishes rivals. Those TV shows, How to Get Away with Treason, followed by Grab's Anatomy. We already knew, yes. Already canceled. Both of them already canceled. We already knew that Donald Trump loves his TV, mostly watching Fox News, but Trump sometimes hate watches CNN to get worked up, especially Don Lemon. Don Lemon. What is it about Don Lemon? Is it that he's so citrusy? Naturally, Trump is furious about the piece, tweeting, another false story, this time in the failing at New York Times that I watch 4 to 8 hours of television a day. Wrong. Also, I seldom, if ever, watch CNN or MSNBC, both of which I consider fake news. I never watched Don Lemon, who I once called the dumbest man on television. Bad reporting. Don Lemon, who I have never seen, is horrible. Not that I would know, which I totally do. Hashtag, who's Don Lemon? Of course. Of course, there are some moments when the president isn't watching Fox News. Sometimes he has Fox News hosts come to him, like former judge and woman who just purchased an orphanage at auction, Jeanine Pirro. Judge Jeanine recently met with Trump at the White House, where she spent more than an hour whipping up the president against Robert Mueller. It's his dream come true. A live performance of Fox News. In the commercial break, they even sold him a self-lubricating catheter. But you're gonna want it. You're gonna thank me. You're gonna thank me for the lubrication. But Judge Jeanine evidently overstayed her welcome because Trump eventually got tired of her screed and walked out of the room. Thanks, Jeanine. Look, what room is Don Lemon in? 'Cause who is Don Lemon? I've never heard of him. Don. But Judge Pirro has a need for screed. So she kept up her attack on Mueller and the FBI on what can only be described as her television show.
There is a cleansing needed in our FBI and Department of Justice. It needs to be cleansed of individuals who should not just be fired, but who need to be taken out in handcuffs. The stench coming out of the Justice Department and the FBI is like that of a third world country. Well, it's time to take them out in cuffs. And that's my open. Tell me what you think on my Facebook page, Twitter, and Instagram, #Judge Jeanine.
Mueller and his corrupt junta are maggots gorging on the corpse of Lady Liberty, and freedom-loving patriots must drink their blood from the chalice of justice. And that's my opening. Join the conversation on Insta with #PushMuellerIntoTraffic. Okay. We got a great show for you tonight. Wow, what a cliffhanger. What's going to happen in the next Late Show video? Click subscribe to find out.